Greetings YouTube friends and family, it's Chris aka Papa Sprout with Loma Acres Homestead. So last year we got bees for the first time and they all died this winter, sadly. So I'm going to go through my hive today, see if I can find any obvious signs of what happened. Let me just give you a real quick background. We're not allowed to keep bees on our property where we live due to the zoning laws. So I kept my hives about 7 miles away at an apple orchard, and while over there they seemed to thrive. Well, one hive more than the other, but we'll get into here and we'll see if we can find anything obvious, and I hope to give you and myself some education today about our bees. So the first thing I'm going to explain is we actually kept an empty super on top because we put our feeders inside of there on top of the inner cover as opposed to the outside, and I did that so that I could keep their entrance reducer full size, so that if I needed to use them on something else in the future I would have them available as full-sized entrance reducers. You'll notice that we use the plastic comb in this foundation comb, and this is all impregnated with beeswax. One of my hives did really well about getting the foundation pulled, and the other one didn't hardly do anything. This, I don't know if you'll be able to see it well in the camera. This does have a good amount of comb on it. There's a supersedure cell right there that to me looks unused. I was told that the bees will make these even if they never plan to use them, they just make them for practice kind of thing. So this was the stronger of my two hives. That had quite a bit of brood in it throughout the year, and I can already tell exactly why this hive died. If you can notice, right there at the corner of my hive tool is a bee butt. Right there is another bee butt. There's a third bee butt. And a fourth. That suggests strongly that this hive here starved. But I am going to question that because there's a lot of bee bread or pollen. I'm not sure which that is there. So I'm going to keep looking. I have some other ideas of what may have happened. But I'm going to keep looking. But there are quite a number of bee butts. The more I'm looking at this, the more I see. So that strongly suggests, like I said a moment ago, that they starved out. And then while I'm doing this, I'm just going to wipe these bees off. I'm going to keep these same hives for next year for our new bees that we've already got ordered, and let the new bees do the cleaning out for the most part, but I'm going to do a little bit of it and just wipe off what dead bees I can. And once I'm done with this hive inspection, or well, not really inspection, once I really have a good answer and I get everything cleaned out, I'm actually going to sweep these bees right back up. Well, there's mold on that. Yeah, I've got no question as of now. These poor bees just starved to death. This was a very strong hive. I fed them almost every week. I wanted to let them do a lot of gathering of their own nectar and whatnot, but I did keep them fed during the dearth, and when we first got them. So I don't exactly know why they didn't spread enough or grab enough food. Like I said, I kept them fed, and they were pulling it out. Every time I went to feed them, it was an empty feeder. So maybe I just should have done it a lot more often than I did. But these ones, when excuse me, these ones when I was inspecting every week, I mean, these ones here just boomed, which is crazy to me because this hive actually, when I installed them before,
I feel like we should be having a funeral for all those dead bees.
Maybe we will. when I installed this package, before they released the queen, she died. And so they were, I don't know, about 6 days installed with no queen by the time I got the new one in. So to me, they had a, right off the rip, they had a disadvantage. So I thought this was going to be a weaker hive. But the queen they got, she just must have been the boss and like, get to work, y'all. We're gonna recover. And yeah, they're just a closer view again of these ones. All those bees in there, they just suggest that they starved out. Which of course, as the beekeeper in general, and me being who I am, I absolutely hate that about my failure. I feel like I caused...
You're a murderer.
That's what I feel like. But then again, hey, there's...
Live and learn.
Right. Then again, there's all kinds of... Babe, you're just going to have to guide me. You see all the white in there?
Bring it down just a little bit, a little closer so they can see. Yeah, that's good. Right there.
All of that is pollen, bee bread, etc. that they could have eaten. So again, this is all a learning experience for us. We got into it not trying to make a lot of money from selling honey. If we had enough honey for our own uses, we were going to be happy. We just wanted to do something to help save the bees, because we're all the time hearing about colony collapse disorder and the fact that the pollinators are dying out. And that's all.
And I just like bees.
Well, we haven't said a lot about it, but Mama Sprout makes goat milk and honey soap, and she uses honey in every bar of soap. And well, guess where we want to source our honey from? We want to get our own goats too, so we can do goat milk, but we're not there yet. We gotta, again, we can't even have beehives at our house. They won't even let us have that. They're sure not gonna let us have chickens or goats, heaven forbid. You know, heaven forbid somebody be able to provide for themselves something healthy a little bit in this farm town too. Speaking of that, I want to talk politics for one quick second. I'm not even going to be Republican or Democrat.
Make it quick.
If you are in the state of Ohio, strongly urge you to look up House Bill 75, HB 75. As a wannabe homesteader, as a started homesteader,
as an urban homesteader, I strongly encourage support of that bill. But I would strongly encourage you, if you're in the state of Ohio, to look that up, study on it a little bit, and get a hold of your representation in both the House and the Senate and express your position on it. And with that, I'm done talking politics. I know that surprises my wife, because I really enjoy a good debate. No matter which side of the aisle a person's on, or which side of an issue a person's on, I can pick the other side and just have fun with it. So I may have actually put my second brood chamber on a little bit too early. I was told when you get 7 frames filled with beeswax to go ahead and put your next one on, and I think I had that, but I just was looking here and they never did fill the rest, so I may have waited, or should have waited a little bit longer. Again, live and learn. I've talked to a few beekeepers who are more experienced than I am, and they said, after I told them that my bees all died this year,
They said, well, it's your first year, isn't it? Well, yeah, it's my first year. Yep, you can expect to lose 100% of your hives the first year. I wish I'd have known that ahead of time. I would have done something a little more proactive so that I could have beat that statistic. See, they didn't even pull any comb out on this one.
No. Well, they pulled a little. Just a little at the top there.
I wonder if I accidentally, one time when I was... Oh, I know what happened. When we went and got these hives picked up so we could bring them back and clean them out, we had a... I had help from Middle Sprout. He's a good kid, but sometimes things happen with him. He's our accident-prone one.
He takes after his mama.
And he dumped a hive.
Oh my
So
goodness,
I think
you didn't tell me that.
it all might have got put back in the wrong order. And that's probably what happened. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in this other hive. This was the weak hive. And they were so weak that actually a couple different times throughout the season, last season, I pulled brood from that hive over in here to give them some strength. Now the queen always had a good brood pattern, nice and tight with just the occasional hole in it. But the bees just didn't want to spread out into the different frames. They worked about 3 frames, and that was it. And once they got that 3rd or so frame, they just were working up through the inner cover. They didn't want anything to do with spreading out. And so I said, fine, I don't want to keep going in and tearing up their work, tearing out the comb.
I'm going to let Kitty sprout out.
And so I just put the next brood box on. This hive was violent too, man. You couldn't get in this hive without getting stung. Oh, there's her highness in this one, I think. She's not marked, but that's probably because she's dead. Can you see that in the video finder there?
Bring it just a little closer. A little closer. A little closer. Yep, there she is.
Right by the corner there.
There she lies.
I'm gonna have to get with some more knowledgeable bee people than myself and see if this molding is what that's about.
That's called decomposition, huh?
Could be.
What we in the professional field understand happens when living tissue no longer lives.
It molds?
It decomposes and...
Well, I understand that.
Well, you know, they're mostly sugar. I'm just kidding.
I wanted to point something out to everybody because this is actually this is actually where the other frames had their bees on each side of each frame coming out so far in this hive.
Yeah, that smells like decomposition.
And bees, to stay warm in the wintertime, cluster. And actually what I thought happened is I thought I accidentally forced them to uncluster. Because of course they smell food. I put some food in just as it was getting cold. But it was going to be hot in the next couple of days, warm in the next couple of days. So let me get some more food in for them. And I thought that I forced...
Yeah, that is decomp. It smells like some wounds. Whew.
Yeah, that's pretty ripe.
Y'all, that is ripe. My husband is not used to this. I'm a nurse, so I am used to smelling, unfortunately, things that normal people do not have to smell. So it doesn't affect me quite as strongly as Papa Sprout, but whew.
Normal people should
Be thankful smell-o-vision was never invented by Mr. Wonka.
Yeah, that's pretty rotten.
Well, that's exactly what it is, rotten.
Shouldn't have waited so long to do this, probably.
Well, it was so muddy back there. There was no, we couldn't really get back there
No, that's true.
without, you know, mud walking.
Again, I'm not sure why. I know that there's no nectar or honey in here, but there is a lot of the bee bread still available. So it makes me wonder what caused them to stay away from that.
Definitely need to air those frames out.
So Uncle Mike, if you watch this video, you'd probably be the first person to talk to a beekeeper that has more experience. Your guy that keeps them on your property down there. Ask him about all this stuff if you would, and let me know. Of course, I'll try to get a hold of some other beekeepers too, but I don't know when that's going to happen for me. Yep. Well, I'm saddened to know that I didn't get these guys, excuse me, these ladies, enough food to survive the winter, but I'm also glad to know that I didn't force them out of their cluster, and that is what caused their death. I don't know which would have been a better way for them to go. I'm really saddened by the fact that they're dead. And I think anybody who's put their time and effort and money into anything would be saddened when it doesn't work. But I'm glad to know that I've learned from it. Keep them fed. Chug them more often than you did, dummy. That's my first thought.
And who kept bugging you to check them?
You did.
All right.
Just an unfortunate situation because it was not just the weather. I'm sorry, it was just not. It was everything. Had a schedule when I could go over there because I worked still. When I could go over there, it was raining, so I couldn't open them up. And
We had a very wet winter.
now that's something else that really set these ladies back. I think is just how much rain we got. So I've heard if it rains today, they can't do anything for about 5 days. You have bees being born every day, you have bees dying every day, and you got bees eating every day. And they're sitting around eating for 5 days. That's 5 days of winter supplies, in essence, that are used up and not recollected. And it's a sad situation. We just had a rough year for weather last year, and well, like I said, the one hive had their queen die straight away, and the other one just wasn't real active. So I hope that you've learned something. I'm glad that I've learned, and I was able to tell exactly what caused the problem. And with that, we're going to let you go. Thanks for joining us. And let us know if you have any tips to help prevent this next year.
Please let us know, please.
Thank you all. Don't forget to give us a subscribe if you're not already, and a like. Leave some comments about anything you want. We greatly appreciate it all. Have a good day, and thanks for your